92, and thank you for joining in. Tonight, we will be discussing the recent Immigrant Reform and Control Act of 1986. The act sparked major controversy between all political parties from main. We'll talk about what led to this event and the act itself. Additionally, we will also talk about the troubles of being an immigrant and security on the border. Before we begin, make sure to smash the like and subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Let's begin. To talk about the context before the act, I invited Chase to join us today and discuss the history behind immigration.
Hello, I'm Chase and I run my own YouTube channel, Chase Plays, so you should go check it out after this video. It's linked below. Now let's begin. Before the 1986 Immigration Reform and Control Act, or the IRCA, U.S. immigration was marked by rising undocumented migration, outdated laws, and weak enforcement, and race-based quotas. African immigrants faced many challenges due to having a smaller visa quota and being discriminated against by many.
Wow, that's rough.
It was, but fortunately, the 1965 Immigration and Nationality Act removed race-based quotas, but it wasn't too effective. Strict annual caps for Western Hemisphere countries such as Mexico were forced to enter illegally due to the difficulty of joining. This meant that lots of immigrants entered illegally. This led to many undocumented workers taking up jobs in the U.S., and there are no punishments against that. The border was weak and understaffed, which eventually led to the IRCA.
And before we begin this next segment, we have a sponsor from Raid Shadow Legends. Now I'll have my friend Eddie and Bobby discuss the IRCA.
Of course, the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986, or the IRCA, was a pivotal change in the U.S. immigration that recently occurred. Due to many errors and weaknesses at the border, many changes occurred with this act to strengthen our forces at the border. Border Patrol staffing was increased by 50%, as well as an increase in the funding in the area, meaning it would be more difficult for illegal immigrants to come into our state illegally. Additionally, penalties were created for employers that knowingly hired undocumented workers.
Damn, that's crazy.
However, the act faced many criticisms and debates regarding its effectiveness. Enforcement against penalizing employers from hiring undocumented workers was weak, and the forms that were required would be easy to create. Additionally, the act granted legal status to about 2.7 million undocumented migrants, which some say supported illegal immigration. Finally, the increased funding towards the border was ineffective, as illegal crossing continued gradually and weren't stopped. The IRCA was seen by many as just a temporary bandage that left many dissatisfied.
Be sure to like and subscribe if you like this video and you want to see more. Making these videos takes long and hard work, so I'd like to announce my new immigrant plushies and merch that you can buy on www.immigrantshop.com. There's a 50% sale on everything right now, so rush before it's all gone. Let's discuss what it's like being an immigrant in the U.S. Here, I bought a previous immigrant, Dexter, to join us.
Before the act began, there were tons of illegal immigrants roaming everywhere because they were undocumented. They worked undocumented jobs due to being illegal. We were paid low wages because we couldn't protest or we would get killed. We constantly lived in fear of being sent back to our home countries such as Mexico or Asia, and our life was uncertain. When we did not find decent jobs, they were dangerous, had long working hours, had little legal protection. There was limited access to healthcare, housing, and education.
So how did the Immigrant Reform and Control Act changed the
3 million undocumented immigrants were suddenly given legal status, including me. Now I'm officially a legal immigrant in the United States. It is a lot easier to enter the border legally now, and it is more difficult to enter the country illegally than it was before. Now I am no longer an undocumented worker, and I am not scared of getting deported.
Yo, Liberty Gang! Now we need to talk about the security of the border. Make sure to like and subscribe now. Let's go. We have Eddie to talk about this.
Hey, it's Eddie. Let's talk about the technology of the border. Because of the new IRCA, there has been a large increase of funding towards border security. First of all, many physical barriers were set up, such as large walls, barbed wire, and vehicle blockades. Additionally, tons of technology went to the border, such as advanced security cameras placed all over the border to protect from illegals. Several checkpoints were set up, making it a lot harder to pass illegally, and finally fingerprint scanners and passkey were set up along all doors to make them secure. However, illegal immigrants still find creative ways to enter the U.S. A major way illegals come into the U.S. is by having a temporary visa to enter the country, but overstay their visa. Additionally, false documents and green cards can be created, and if they're convincing enough, they can get in. They could also use someone else's legal documents for themselves, fooling the security. Another method is getting them smuggled in by traffickers. Some vehicles, like a Trojan horse, where they create designed openings to smuggle in immigrants. And finally, there are certain spots on the border that are less secure. Entering from the sea is a popular strategy, as is less defended, and borders nearby Canada are typically weaker.
Thank you all for tuning in, and a big thanks once again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. And now go buy some immigrant merch at immigrantshop.com. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.